So, what did you think of our last episode?
Well, I did enjoy it. I just enjoyed talking to you and listening to you in general.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's
Me,
a,
you.
a
I enjoy that.
you, me, you. It's a problem
Yeah.
because then we don't have a proper perspective on what's actually
But
happening.
but what is happening and what's perspective? You know what I mean?
I like it when we just blow everything out of the water and lead back to it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Um, my first thought was, you know what, if we're leading nice, I actually have to do the same thing.
Wait a
Uh,
second. Wait a second. I thought you got the surgery, so you don't have to use this stuff anymore.
Well, I had the polyps removed, but I still have to do some steroid flushing every few days, and
Steroids?
yeah,
Like forever?
yeah, forever because the polyps come back.
But steroids aren't good for you, are they?
This amount of steroids is very
Okay, great. Because
minimal.
I want to take steroids, but
Yeah.
um, I want to get off of this. But then if I'm just spraying something else up my nose, then who
I,
cares?
so what's happening right now was my main note for the F1 Chat podcast.
Oh, what's that?
Well, I thought like I think we kind of we have to like have like a tiramisu, probably a bad example of a podcast. So we got to start. It's tiramisu. Oh my goodness. We talk about F1, some F1 right away. Then we go into some other layer that we're not sure what it is. And then it's Formula One again. And then it kind of and the whole tiramisu
Oh,
falls apart,
yeah.
turns into everything. And then it's randomly F1, randomly all this sort of stuff.
And then we have a coffee after.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want some more strategy.
Yeah.
You want some more striations.
Because if people are going to tune in for F1 Chat Pod, they're going to want a bit of hot goss or takes or opinions on certain stuff. That's
Okay.
all.
All right, well, great. Let's talk about F1. I've got some cold takes.
Give me some cold takes right away.
Okay, first of all, actually, they're more of an I told you so.
Oh, I love
Although they're on very thin ice.
it. Doesn't matter because a good I told you so doesn't matter how
Thank
thin
you.
your argument is.
That's what I think too.
Feels good.
That's the power of predictions too. Like you can just make predictions and then just be wrong, but never mention them again.
Yeah, it's just great.
So you feel like you're right all the time,
Yeah.
even when you're not.
Yeah, and it does. It is nice to make as many predictions as possible, just for the sake of that. Is it endorphins of being
Yeah,
right?
for sure. It's endorphins. Yeah. Which
Yeah.
is all we've got at this age.
Yeah, and even then, there's not many endorphins flowing through me, I don't think, anymore.
No, that's true. You're pretty joyless these days.
Yeah,
I like it. I like it.
I mean, there's a few people. Someone said the other day I was so. Yeah.
You used to be way more positive, and now you're not.
No, I just see the world for what it is. Wait until
what did someone say about you the other day? I cut you off.
I did a podcast, and they were like, we were shooting a web series, like a pilot, and it was the person. His name is Brittlestar. I did a Brittlestar podcast, and he was like, it was so much fun to do it, and we, you helped us produce this thing, but you were always a bit surly on set, and I said, I think it's because there's a few things, mostly because I've realized that you don't shut up, phone.
You don't make.
You can't make any money in that business. So you make all this stuff.
No,
so
the business is dead for us.
Then you ask people to work for not very much money. So then I feel guilty if the hours are too long. And then if I think I can do it better, and that's like everything. If I think I can act better than you, I should just do it.
Right.
If I can direct better than you, just let me do it. No, I think the joke is funnier this way. Just let me write the joke.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, I shouldn't be like that. So then I start hating myself. So then it just becomes a whole.
Okay, that's good. My hot takes are my hot takes are Lulu Hammer Pants, fastest man in quali. Who called this? Okay, I didn't call this race, but it seems to go in F1 punditry that as soon as, Max wins one race, then he's won the entire championship. And maybe that's not a great example because then we move on to the next thing. It's our intel, our memories are only as long as the last race, and then everybody jumps on the bandwagon. Now we're talking about this. And I just think you count out Lewis Hamilton um
And there's
at
what
your own risk, because look at Mercedes go, and look at them in the cold weather. And that leads me to a question: is that why are Mercedes cars good in cold weather all of a sudden?
Well, I don't know the answer to that. I need to research that. But it might be that like the tire composition, because the tires essentially what's crazy about Formula One. You can make all these great cars, but if your car doesn't know how to work the tires properly,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Then it doesn't. It's the one contact patch. It doesn't work. So maybe, just maybe, when the weather's colder, the tires are whatever harder. They generate more heat in the tires. Maybe they're
Is it
able to.
because they're German?
It
Is
could
it
be.
because they're Northern European and they're just better in cold weather?
I mean, I think there's nothing wrong with that statement. I think that's
Like the
probably accurate.
Ferraris are like, it's a cold.
Yes.
We're not gonna warm up.
Yeah, they're like absolutely, and then they have to eat more because they're cold,
Yeah,
and then they
and
get
then they
heavier.
and then they're doing this a lot, and they're crying, and they're like, my back and
Mhm.
my mama.
Yeah.
Whereas the Germans are like,
Mhm.
we don't mind the weather,
Mhm.
we like it.
I mean, and Total Wolf's Austrian, so maybe he just his
Toto Wolff shouldn't be going after Max. Toto Wolff should be getting Lando, don't you think?
well,
Max isn't going to move. Lando's going to move. His contract's up in 2026 or something, isn't it?
yeah, I have a feeling. Okay, here's some hot takes, and also you brought up punditry, and I
Yeah.
don't know if you've heard the news, but Damon Hill's not going to be part of Sky Formula One anymore.
What? What happened?
Well, you're going to love this. I think you're going to have a strong opinion about it. But Damon Hill, and if everyone's saying there's British bias in press, right? And I'm not even sure why anyone cares. Why do you care if there is bias?
Because we're in this age of like, it's not representative of the sport,
right,
or of the blank, or whatever. Yeah, but sorry, F1 started there.
right.
At least for the English version of the sport, maybe not the French, but it started over there. So of course they're going to have more English people.
So Max, because basically Damon Hill went on to say a few things, and I love them all. But my main argument here is, if you're watching Formula One, do you want your pundits to be like not have strong opinions?
Yeah, because they're all worried about their
job.
access.
So
Yeah.
Damon Hill, a lot of people are saying Damon Hill's lost his job because of what his critiques were of Max Verstappen's latest antics of driving.
Mhm.
And I'm going to go on and say, no matter how successful this podcast goes on, I never need to interview Max Verstappen. I'm just saying that, right? Or Christian Horner. I don't care. Yeah, I don't need it. You guys are, because Christian. So basically, what happens is Damon Hill goes on to say, where's the quote? He goes on to say, I think this is after Brazil and after Austin, and I think we can all say that if you watch that race, I don't care who you are, even if you're a fan, you got to admit, okay, that's a bit over the line. Hill says maybe Verstappen is not capable of racing fairly, and it's his philosophy to racing is just to block the track and prevent others from passing. He uses fear and intimidation, which, I don't even know if that's so much as a criticism, as that's just what he's saying. He just uses fear and intimidation. Now you're taking it personally, Max Verstappen, or all the supporters of Max Verstappen. Losing respect, maybe he's saying that, maybe if people start losing respect for Max Verstappen, he'll change his approach. He goes on to say another one where he's like, well, maybe Verstappen, I don't know, shouldn't be allowed to use his car as a weapon and block the track. So he I can get real specific with a few of these things. Like,
look, I think Damon Hill, and sorry to cut you off, Damon Hill and Jacques Villeneuve, I think, here's another prediction, by 2026, they're going to be on our podcast network.
You got it. That's
because
right.
there's such a business opportunity, because everything's so buttoned down, and
Yeah.
everything's just talking points, and
Yeah.
no one has an opinion until finally, Will Buxton loses his mind over something once in
Yeah.
a while. Everyone else is towing the party line because they want that paddock access. And of course, it makes perfect sense, but it also makes a huge opportunity that we're filling is where we're going to tell the truth. The Truth Social. We are the
Yeah.
Truth Social of, that's also a bad example, totally. We are
Whatever.
we're the people, and it's because the stakes are so low for us, we can just say whatever we want because nobody's even watching, let alone, you know, let alone rescinding our credentials from the next race.
Well, that's exactly what happened to Peter Windsor, who's a big Formula One guru, if you will. He's been around forever. He lost his he can still go to races, but he lost his press pass because he made some comments about the FIA, the regulatory body. And so what they're saying is a lot of people are saying Damon Hill's contract wasn't renewed with Sky F1, maybe for a couple of reasons. But one, they're saying they think Max's annoyance with Damon Hill's description of his driving and whatever is one of the reasons. And also that there's, a backlash about saying anything too strong about a certain driver's techniques or whatever's happening. And also that maybe Damon Hill was like, well, I don't need this. Like, why am I going to, I'm being, you've hired me to be a pundit and have an opinion, and I'm a racing driver and I'm assessing what I think maybe could be is it not possible that maybe Max drove purposefully Lando off the track? Is it not? That is a possibility. And when you watch it and you look at the evidence, it looks like that's the case. So why wouldn't you want someone to explore that possible explanation for the, why he drives that way? I
Follow
don't get
the
it.
money.
I
Follow
don't
the
get
money.
it. Yeah, I don't get it.
Just the money.
I can't wait till Max
has the money.
Yeah.
FIA. Maybe it's not even Max. Maybe it's the FIA
or Liberty Media. Who knows?
Yeah.
But to me, it's so funny because the internet is based on outrage, and but so press that's like that. When Damon Hill or another pundit, because there's lots of other pundits that have said strong words about Max's driving, isn't that what you want? Then more people are talking about it.
Yeah.
Then more people.
They're missing out.
If every pundit is like, every driver's a good driver, I like them all. They're so great. There's nothing wrong with any of them. And here's the kicker, JB. You're going to love this and hate it all at the same time. The rumor is that it's going to be Daniel Ricciardo to replace Damon Hill.
Yeah.
So you're going to have...
That makes sense.
You're going to have... I mean, I like Danny Rick. Don't get me wrong. But you're just going to have a...
It's going to be so boring. Danny Rick isn't a broadcaster. He might be in a few years. I liked him much better as a race car driver than a personality. That outsized persona of his, that Australian exuberance, it's fucking exhausting. and it's exhausting for him too. He goes home. He doesn't go home and he doesn't. Danny Ricks doesn't fall asleep with that big grin on his face. He's crying himself to sleep every night.
Until someone punches mirrors.
He can't stand himself.
So we can relate.
No.
Oh,
not at all. No.
Oh, I thought you hated yourself.
No.
Okay.
I like myself more and more because I'm becoming more and more myself. Aren't you? I'm more and more comfortable in my own skin.
I go back and forth. I think I could be way better.
Like, way better at what?
Just better.
Better, like, give me an
example. More patience.
Oh, sure, more patience. Yeah, but what about your bullshit meter?
Okay, I think my bullshit meter is getting better, but sometimes, like I got to use that on myself more because. Like here's a great example. If I find myself getting impatient or frustrated with someone and then I'm not behaving in maybe a nicer way, well, what's that about? That's really about what? Me not wanting more control.
Oh,
me, I told you so. What value is there in that? Is your chair okay?
Sorry about that. I should have fixed these things beforehand. Yeah, no, I understand what you mean, but I guess I'm equating a finely tuned bullshit meter with maturing.
And
and
I think you're right.
wasting other people's time less.
Yeah. Like,
Just by being honest. And it's hard in cultures like ours where, sorry is the most popular word in this country, even though it means 20 different things, including go fuck yourself, and where no is a four-letter word. So I just think like people like Lando and Danny Ricks, they've got to learn. They're young. They're much younger than us. I mean, I could be Lando's father easily.
mhm.
Danny Ricks. Danny Ricks is
I
like my
think you could
younger.
be.
Yeah, you're right. I could.
Like, you could, it
What
could have
is he?
been 18.
32?
Yeah,
32?
yeah, you might have been 18 or 17 in
34?
Australia, and you like found some beautiful Australian babe.
Seriously, just an hour. Just did I have been to Australia. Did I? I don't think I had sex with anyone there.
Oh, it's too bad.
That is too bad. Anyway, Danny Ricks, I just need him for an hour. Just tighten that cap. Just tighten that cap. And what's interesting to me is that the prevailing feeling is that, oh, he's got such a fun personality. He's going to be great on TV. He's not. He'll be there for a year. That's my guess.
Here, all of this, because like Johnny Herbert used to be a Formula One broadcaster. He didn't get renewed. Paul DeResta was another one who you're probably not familiar with. He didn't get renewed. And both of those gentlemen they would ask pretty pointed questions to driver. Like Fernando Alonso did not like Johnny Herbert.
And
And
we'll get to Fernando Alonso when we talk about Flavio.
yeah,
That's an
and
interesting
yeah.
relationship.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I guess I think it's a shame because we're going to end up. What will happen is I'll tune in. I'd rather probably watch. I'm not saying you and I would be good broadcasters because being a live broadcaster of an F1 race is a skill set that's not easy to do. Like for any sports, it's amazing what broadcasters do. But when it becomes bland and boring, I'd rather watch some guy on his laptop broadcasting and sharing information and getting excited and having opinions, and he's from the Philippines. I'll watch that podcast, that video commentary. Then Sky F1 is going to potentially lose
Yeah.
because there's talk that Martin Brundle and David Croft might be next.
Oh, terrific. Well, I think this sort of turnover is so good. This is Sky on their way down. And the change, the opportunity, the upside is huge. Also, I love the people of the Philippines.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm
I've
a
never
big
been
fan
on it.
of. I'm not sure who you're talking about over there, but I'm into it. We
I
should
picked a
go.
random country.
Oh, okay. So the Damon Hills and the Crofties of the world, they'll just start their own podcasts, and then
Mhm.
and then you can tune into that.
A little secret, JB, on me when I reference countries.
Yeah.
Often I reference countries that sound fun. So
Oh, I see.
The Philippines just sounds like it just sounds fun. For the
Well,
Philippines.
they've got the music inside them,
Mhm.
and I love karaoke.
Yeah. Yeah. Like oh,
I'm not sure about their cuisine. What's that sound? It sounds like a high-pitched mouse squealing.
it's supposed to be birds chirping. That's my alarm. And I've had this iPhone iPhones for about 10 years now, and I've never learned how to I thought if you just swipe it away, it would turn the alarm off. It never does.
No, that snoozes it.
It's just like
You snooze, you lose. I think we all lose. So today we're going to talk about the pirates of F1. And at first I called it the criminals of F1, but that's sort of inflammatory. Like, are you a criminal if your record has been expunged? Like the person I want to talk about today, one Flavio Briatore. Milky, tell us about Flavio Briatore. What do you know about him?
Well, if my memory serves me correctly, I mean, he was a team owner. He owned Benetton. He stole Michael Schumacher from Eddie Jordan because Eddie Jordan gave Michael Schumacher his first race and made a contract happen. And then very controversial because Michael Schumacher came onto the scene and was very, very good. And of course, that was actually a la Oscar Piastri. That's what happened with Oscar Piastri and Alpine and McLaren. There was supposed to be a contract and it wasn't in place. And anyway, it's kind of interesting how history repeats itself.
Exactly. Do you notice that there's a pattern?
There's a pattern.
There's patterns. Max Verstappen
Yeah,
is the same flavor of, well, maybe he does block the track. There's other drivers that wouldn't put up with it, but he knows Lando Norris will.
yeah,
So
yeah.
really, do I agree with Damon Hill and his saying, this isn't how you drive. It's how Max drives and it works. So why would you fix what ain't broke?
Well, it goes back to what I was saying a few podcasts ago, and I'm sure all the listeners remember. It's that the only way to compete against Max when you introduce those, if he's introducing those tactics, is to crash. Just crash. Start crashing. And if that starts happening, then you'll start to see, I think you'll start to see a different approach, because now most people just get out of the way. I'm just going to get out of the way. No, crash into him.
But why crash? Why not? I mean, if you look, Lando can't change his stripes.
No, but
He can't become a different driver.
If
but
you take Australia, or sorry, Austria, when Max and Lando collided, right? I believe if I was Lando Norris, I would have just always put my car, and I would always let Max hit my car. And that's what he did in Australia. He didn't move. Max Verstappen went to the inside, and then under braking went to the outside and collided with Lando. Let him hit you. Put your car in a position. Let him hit you, and then we'll know. Like if those two had crashed in Mexico. Now the reason why they didn't hit each other is because Lando's like, well, if he hits me and we crash, I'm out of. I won't win the championship, right? So he had to get out of the way. Lando was never going to win the championship. It was never going to happen. He should have just he should be thinking long term, getting into the brain of Max, saying, if you want to keep driving into me, we'll crash every time.
Yeah, there's another way though. There is a third way, and that is a different driver. That's a Lando response that you're hoping for. A different driver isn't gonna. It's not even gonna. They're not even going to let Max get into that position in the first place. So instead of reacting to a Max game, they're playing an entirely different game altogether. And that's what I'm talking about. And I think Oscar is the man for that.
He might just be. He might. And so back to Flavio Briatore. So Flavio Briatore, he had wild hair when he was younger, and that was a part of his attraction, I'm sure.
Yeah. He still has wild hair. There's just less of it.
Yeah, less of it. And he was controversial. He was a very good businessman. And in the wild days of Bernie Ecclestone run Formula One racing, and I'll talk. He's one of my F1 pirates, by the way.
Oh, great.
He won world championships with Michael Schumacher and ran F1 teams, but did some dastardly, as Damon Hill had described Max Verstappen, dastardly things.
Yeah. Let's get into it.
Can you not make my face be so big?
Oh, does that affect you too?
I just like seeing your face and not my face, because then I start.
Well, that's why I just changed it, but I didn't know that affected your view also, because I don't want to look at my face.
You picked one where your image was bigger than my image, and my image was in the corner, and I like that one.
Well, I didn't. I was trying to make it the opposite, because otherwise I just stare at myself the whole time.
Even if my face is bigger than your face?
No, I want your face to be bigger than my face, but then you just said I don't like that.
I know I don't, but you can't. There's not an option where my face is big for you and your face is big for me.
No, I think it's 2 seats, and I have to pay for them. We have to pay more for that.
So then what you do is you open up another window and put it in front of my face.
Oh, I see.
So now this is where I have all my notes about Bernie Ecclestone.
Okay. All right. Good. No, good idea. Let me just do that. I have so many open though.
Me too.
I've got to get to that. When am I going to get to that? You know what? We've got to, I don't even know where I am anymore. Where are you? There you are.
So I'm the same way. I'll have like, honestly, 25 windows open of websites or theaters where I'm going to produce a show.
Yeah.
And I think And somehow I think it helps me keep my task list in order. It doesn't.
You know what it does is like because if I leave everything open, I'll stumble upon something and go,
Right.
"Oh fuck, right, I was supposed to do that."
I was supposed to pay my taxes.
Uh, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but in Ali Wong's latest
She's great.
special, she talks about banging young dudes since getting
Yeah.
divorced, and how the through line is that they're very busy but broke.
Yeah. That's funny.
That's you and me. So busy but broke, and yet we're
Oh, yeah.
not young and we're not banging Ali
Yeah, it's a
Wong.
little.
It was hard to hear because she was describing me to a T,
Yeah, it's.
except for the young part, and I'm not banging hot Asian puss.
Whoa, Jabers. Don't worry, there's still a chance.
Yeah, there is. Okay, I can't read this and see you at the same time, so
What are you talking about? You don't need to see me. That was the point.
no, I wanted to see you. I want to see your beautiful face, not mine.
I know, but cover your face then.
I can't and see what I'm about to read to you.
This is
Here we go.
scintillating podcasting.
Let's do the background of Flavio Briatore. Born to a family of elementary school teachers, Flavio graduated high school with the lowest grade possible. He was born to not one, but two elementary school teachers. Those are the good, honest, hardworking people that gave birth to one of the most infamous pirates of Formula One. He received 2 convictions in the 80s for fraud and for being a confidence man, where he would set up rigged gambling games using fake playing cards. The judge described these as elaborate confidence tricks in which victims were invited to dinner and then ensnared in rigged games involving a cast of fictional characters, which realized enormous profits for the perpetrators.
I love this. And by the way,
Isn't that so good?
JB, I don't care if anyone listens to this or not, or someone gets upset. By the way, someone will get upset by the things we say, and we apologize for it, but we're
well, they're cunts.
In 100 years, we'll all be dead.
A lot less.
I mean, I always used to say, I was like, we don't want to be. No one wants to hurt anyone. Like, I don't want anyone to feel bad by listening to our podcasts. And
that's true. That's true.
Like,
I'm not here to make people feel bad.
Yeah.
But also, your feelings aren't my responsibility.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, anyway. But you bringing in that historical stuff to me about Flavio Briatore is fantastic. I love it. And you know what? Sky F1 should bring that up. Well, welcome back, Flavio Briatore, the new CEO of Alpine, the new race director, formerly convicted for.
I know.
Amazing.
They never mention anything. They'll say stuff like, "Oh, and that thing that happened a few years back." They never. Everybody's so terrified. But anyways, that's where we come in.
Yeah. So now, exactly, let's just talk about all the dirt on that. Everyone's got some dirt. So here's a question. Yeah. Do you know what one of the most infamous things he did?
Well, I think so. I think I cribbed most of his life of alleged criminality from Wikipedia, which I do donate to, by the way.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. To avoid, shall I keep going?
Yeah.
To avoid jail time, Flavio lived as a fugitive in the Virgin Islands. Instead of going to jail in Italy, he was like, fuck it, I'm moving to the Caribbean, like a pirate did.
Yes, I love it.
And then he worked for Benetton, having met the owner when he was a stockbroker. He became boss of U.S. operations at Benetton's peak and made a fortune. So he while he was a shady stockbroker in Italy, he met the boss of Benetton. He made such an impression because he's so charming and so capable and so whatever, that this guy remembered him. And when he was in the Virgin Islands, he called him up and said, why don't you run U.S. operations of Benetton, which was an Italian clothier. They opened up, at their peak, they had like 900 stores.
Yeah,
and that's when remember that? That's when Flavio made a fucking fortune, because he got a piece of every single franchise fee. I mean, the guy negotiated an amazing contract with the billionaire owner of Benetton. I mean, this guy he's incredible. So from there and all that money, that gave him access to F1, and he became managing director at Benetton Racing. So now the Benetton boss loved him so much in his clothing business, he was like, "Why don't you go and manage my racing team too?"
Amazing.
Where he built a team around Michael Schumacher, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
In 1994,
and he stole. People to this day will say that he stole, like basically. If and it's worth, I should Google it and Wikipedia it and then donate to Wikipedia. I want to get I now want to get clarification on that, because what I remember was that there was a contract and Michael Schumacher just went, "No, I'm not following it." It's kind of like what happened.
Wow.
So that already right away would potentially say, I guess Michael Schumacher maybe is not a person of his word, and maybe not to be trusted, and maybe will say anything to do whatever he has to do, which was a lot like his driving when he drove into, guess who? Damon Hill, 1994 Adelaide Grand Prix.
Oh, I see. Wow. Yeah, if you want to get things done, there's the rules become malleable. And I think that applies to pretty much everything. Like when I'm parenting, I say, look, there's this way of doing it. And and I much prefer order over chaos.
Mm-hmm.
But are you really going to stop at, like, oh, I don't know, Toronto's amazing amounts of red tape?
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to like the rules and your dream, are you really going to go, oh, well, this cop says, I should just stop and wait for... You have to draw the line somewhere and go, no, I'm going to live my life, goddammit. And then there's those people like Flavio and Michael Schumacher who are like, I'm going to live a big life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's okay when you're dealing in like sports and business, and when it gets into politics and people's lives, like the Orange Emperor running things, I think you go too far. But Flavio playing this game like it is a game. I remember Pierre Elliott Trudeau years ago in a documentary in the 80s. Somebody in this documentary, he was asked,
RSP.
RIP?
Yeah. I just say RSP now because it's stupid.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Yeah. Somebody asked him in this documentary, don't you get stressed being the prime minister? And he goes, no, it's just a game. I have to look at it as a game or else I would never sleep. So it's a game, and how do I win? And I thought that's how people at the top do it. Back to Flavio. In 1994, he and Team Benetton were fined for cheating, and there was a 2-race ban for Schumacher. In 2001, what was that? Was that Adelaide?
Well, I mean, again, okay, so that was not Adelaide. That had something to do with, I believe, a technical thing that a regulation they weren't following. I feel like it has something to do with the ride height and the plank. That's when they introduced the plank, and there's some controversy about it. But here's the thing, Flavio, Flavio on his scene in Formula One, he was already like controversial. Flavio, so for a technical regulation to not be followed, that's probably a team principal who might go, yeah, just do the thing that you're maybe not supposed to do. You know what I mean? Like, it was already there. Yeah. So he, like, as you say, he pushes the limits of a rule.
Yeah. Michael
Schumacher did the same thing.
Yeah. Max Verstappen does the same thing. Christian Horner does the same thing.
Yeah. They all do, really. I mean, all the, again, there was another technical regulation involving the plank, which they have to have a certain ride height so your car's not too low. You have to have these titanium bolts that create the sparks that you see when the cars drive down the road. And that's there so that the cars can't get too low. And then, this is the rule for ride height. If that plank wears down, you lose some time. So that's what happened to George Russell in Belgium. And it was like, like, it's so small what he lost. So you might say, well, what's the, why let George win the race? But his plank was too thin. Red Bull points out to everybody that there's something wrong with the ride heights. So every team had to change their planks installation right before the Vegas Grand Prix. So they're like, well, we're doing that rule for next year, so why don't we just bring it in now? But I don't understand why they bring it in now when they're going to do it next year. I don't understand, like, and they did it like within 48 hours of them they didn't have time to bring stuff over. Like it was all last minute. So I'm like, well, what was the objective of Red Bull to do that now? It must be because they believe that there's an advantage happening. That's the only reason. They think that but no one's saying that. No one's saying, so it feels like no one's going, so Red Bull, do you think people are cheating?
I don't feel like we get the full, like, I bet there's talk in the background that we never get.
Oh yeah, I bet to be a fly on the wall and all that stuff would be just incredible.
Yeah, because when you do finally hear like Zach saying something, like Red Bull went over the cost cap in the press, it's only been verified by a million different people before he. Otherwise, there's going to be court costs up the yin yang.
Yeah, I like Wazoo.
In 1998, Briatore became engaged to supermodel Naomi Campbell. They were involved in an on-again, off-again relationship until their separation in 2003. Campbell now considers him her mentor. If you've looked at both, isn't that amazing? If you look at both of those human beings, just from a purely objective, who's conventionally good-looking and who is unconventionally good-looking, you'd have to say there may be more under the hood with a Flavio in order to ingratiate himself with a Naomi Campbell, one of the most beautiful human beings on the face of the earth.
An angel.
Like he pulls the highest quality puss on earth.
It's incredible.
In 2001, let's get back to racing. In 2001, Flavio and the modern era of racing, 2001, Flavio signs Fernando Alonso and drops Jenson Buttons. What do you think about that?
Oh,
Tom?
Yeah. Oh, I know. Jenson Button went into a Formula One team at a time with Flavio where it was like I think it was a money play. And yeah, he was, I'll say this, Jenson was lucky to still have a seat in Formula One after that.
Oh, okay. So this wasn't a controversial move like him stealing Schumacher.
No, I think it was more like it was more of a money play. Like if I remember correctly, because say what you said again.
He signed a young Fernando Alonso and dropped Jenson Button. He probably stole Fernando from somebody.
Yeah, what happened was that Jenson Button needed a race seat. He came in and did quite well, but he didn't have a race seat at Williams because Williams had a contract, I think, with Juan Pablo Montoya. And so they were like, where do we put Jenson? And so Jenson kind of got inserted into Benetton. But Flavio
in the number 2 seat.
Only did that for money. And Flavio did not give, as far as I understand, didn't give 2 cents. He's like, I know what I'm doing. I'm getting this other guy, Fernando Alonso. That's what I'm going to do, right? So Jenson was kind of lucky. He had no support in that team, and it was a terrible car. Yeah, anyway.
Let's talk about Spygate. On November 8th, 2007, the FIA announced that Renault F1 team would be summoned before FIA World Motorsport Council to answer a charge of possession of confidential information relating to the 2006-7 McLaren Formula One cars. This scandal was known as Spygate. So now Benetton is Renault?
Yes.
Right. And Flavio is in charge of Renault now?
Yes.
Yes. And what was Spygate exactly?
Say that again. Who was it? Spygate was, I believe, McLaren spying on Ferrari, and they got information. Which this is when Fernando Alonso was racing for McLaren.
We should have gone over these notes before this record.
No, it's okay. This is good. I'm just making sure I'm not misremembering, because you still haven't got to the thing that I thought you were going to focus on.
Oh, Crashgate?
Yeah,
that's coming later.
Yeah, okay.
That's coming later. Yeah.
Because that is, to me, like that is incredible that they were able to pull this off, and it destroyed Felipe Massa's world championship.
The Crashgate. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. because the
Well,
race was manipulated anyway.
And that was talk to us more about that.
So what happened? Well, first, so go back to Spygate. Spygate was when I want to make sure I'm right.
Well,
Spygate
that's all
was,
I wrote down.
okay. Well, Spygate, if from what I remember, was Fernando Alonso is in the Formula One team of McLaren at the time.
Yes,
Lewis
that's
Hamilton
correct.
is there, and Lewis Hamilton's this young rookie who's incredible. Fernando's pissed off because Fernando's gets pissy. We know he does. That's one of the reasons why you like him. He gets pissy.
Love him.
And he was so upset that he wasn't being treated as the number one because he's won world championships. He and Ron Dennis, who's quite the character. There's someone you might want to do some research on because you love it. He was like, you stop. Like Ron Dennis was the race director of the team in charge, and was like, look, you're both basically number ones, because no one knew Lewis was going to be so good right out of the gate. Like he was just incredible. So Fernando Alonso, and love him or hate him, but the truth is he did some dastardly things. That's going to be my new word. To Lewis Hamilton, blocking him in the pit when they were qualifying in Hungary, so that Lewis Hamilton didn't have a chance to do one last flying lap to get on pole position.
Blocking his own teammate.
Stayed in the pit lane while his
Wow.
so they changed Fernando's tires, and then Fernando was supposed to go. He just stayed in the car.
Wow. And what did he say afterwards in defense of himself?
I can't remember exactly, but it was a load of bullshit.
That's so good.
And so
no, I couldn't get the car into the gear or something like that.
He's Spanish. He's Spanish.
Oh, didn't that sound Spanish?
No.
Tapas.
No. So you've probably heard a bunch of Spanish people's feelings.
Definitely. Tons of people.
So hopefully not. Hopefully there's a bit more resilience than some white guy's bad attempt at an accent. So then he was so angry with what was going on there that he unveiled the fact that Formula One team McLaren had somehow gotten technical papers from Ferrari. And that was a massive. So
wait, Fernando ratted out his own team?
Yes. That's how angry he cost that team, I think, over $100 million in fines.
Wow, what a little bitch.
It's so incredible.
That is so juicy. We got to go deeper into that. Let's do an episode on Fernando too.
Oh, well, they're all crazy, except for Lando Norris, because I'm British heritage, so I'm biased.
No, but you're right. But it's also going to stop him from being as winning as he could be. Yeah,
he'll be lucky if he wins one world championship.
He's just too nice. You've got to have some larceny to you in this life.
I feel like George Russell has more elbows out than Lando. I think George
Russell's playing it just right.
Yeah, and
here's what you do. He doesn't bother with infighting. You never hear him talking about Max.
Yeah.
He goes after the FIA.
Yeah.
So he's got the court of public opinion on him all the way. He's got his team on his side. The only thing that George has to make sure that he doesn't mess around with is who's the boss of the FIA?
It's hard, I can't say his name. Benjamin.
Yeah.
He's from I think he's from Saudi Arabia. So I'm not, Suleiman.
Yeah. And is it ever a good idea to mess with the House of Saud?
Oh no, I don't.
No, it's not. So George is.
We should stop talking about it right now.
We totally should. Let's move on to Scientology.
Yeah, even better. So Crashgate is the Singaporean Grand Prix. These people are so genius, Flavio, and I mean genius when it comes to cheating. That Flavio Briatore used his giant, powerful thumb to force Nelson Piquet Jr. to crash his car at a certain point on the track where they knew they would force a red flag, which would stop the race. And there's a dumb rule in Formula One where you can get new tires on and reset your car up. They got to get rid of that rule. This is a rule that Lando Norris keeps talking about. This is also what aided Max Verstappen's incredible race victory in Brazil. He did get lucky. Mm-hmm. No, everyone's going to be like, no, he was amazing. He was amazing, but a red flag always helps those who haven't pitted. And that's why George Russell was so mad at Mercedes, because he said they're going to red flag this and stay out, and they didn't.
Explain why a red flag helps those who pit late.
So I'm driving on older tires and I pit and I waste 30 seconds in the pit and come back out and I'm now in position 7, 8 after being in the lead. Oh, now the person that was behind me is in the lead. There's a red flag. He goes in. He's in the lead now. He gets to change his tires and start in front of me.
So you get a free pit if there's a red flag.
Exactly.
I see.
Get rid of that.
Get
If there's a
rid of
red
it.
flag, you come back out on the same tires. Because
So
then
now
what would have
let's go
happened
back to
is,
Singapore.
but let me just so then if that was the rule, Lando Norris and George Russell would have been on fresh tires because they took the pit earlier, and Ocon, Gasly, and Verstappen would have been on older intermediates, and they, right, would have had the better tire, would have eventually passed those guys, and then now we'd be talking about something different.
So in 2008 in Singapore, Flavio forces a red flag. He illegally makes a red flag happen.
So a driver crashes the car, risking volunteer marshals.
Risking risking the lives of human beings.
Yeah, including the driver, to crash.
Including Nelson Piquet.
Right? So that there's a red flag which allows Fernando Alonso to get that free pit stop and win the Singaporean Grand Prix.
And for his sins, Briatore was banned by the FIA.
But he's back, baby.
Oh, he's back. You know what else happened in 2008? Oh, no, it was 2003. Briatore began dating supermodel Heidi Klum. Heidi fucking Klum. In December, she announced her pregnancy. Soon after, the two split and Klum began dating the musician Seal. Klum gave birth to Lenny Klum in New York City.
Never survive on this.
We get a little
crazy.
Such a great album. Fun fact. That's also let it go. We'll edit this out, and we can't. It's live.
There's no time.
According to Klum, Briatore is not involved in Lenny's life. She has stated emphatically that Seal is Lenny's father. In 2009, Briatore allowed Seal to adopt his daughter and change her name.
God, JB, you went deep.
In 2008, now we're up to speed, Briatore married the Wonder Bra model Elisabetta Gregoracci on the 14th of June. And guess who officiated at their wedding?
Bernie Eccleston.
Fernando Alonso.
No.
Yes. No, he didn't officiate. He drove the limo.
A little cheesy, actually.
So cheesy. Good, right? They're still friends.
Yeah.
They're still close. Okay, let's go back to
2008. Also, we might as well make a false allegation. I think Flavio Briatore was the cause of the 2008 economic fallout.
Oh, tell me. You mean the housing crash?
It's his fault.
He owned short?
I think he owned half the houses in America or something.
Okay, I love it. Let's go with it.
Let's blame it on him.
Coming up on my other podcast, the Pop Finance Podcast, our next film is The Big Short. So that ties in nicely. And that's on the Pop Finance. We talk personal finance via the movies. Mm-hmm. Find us wherever you find the podcasts.
Do you say mildly or potentially highly offensive things like puss on that podcast?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. It just depends on what people's barometer is.
I'm just a consistent fella, so you can count on me, Milky.
Okay. Go ahead.
Have you seen a photo of Elisabetta Gregoracci?
No, but that's a fun name.
We'll put it in the show notes. She's probably the most gorgeous woman. No, not the most gorgeous, the most my type.
Okay. I love it. This is an opportunity for all of us to understand.
Yeah.
No, whatever. I don't want to what? I don't know what she looks like.
In 2019, Briatore founded the political party.
Oh my God.
Can you stop this guy? He's now in his 60s or something. He founded a political party called Movimento del Fare. In 2020, Briatore was hospitalized after testing positive for COVID-19. Briatore returned to the former Renault F1 team, now competing under the name of Alpine in May 2024. His new role is described as that of special supervisor. Briatore was appointed to this role by Renault CEO Luca Di Maio, who
That's a great name.
that's a great name. Talk to him about, because he's been a part of Renault since the beginning, or since for like 20
Luca
years.
Di Maio.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Hasn't he?
a lot of these people, a lot of team members are lifers with these organizations.
Yeah.
Like
So they're just bringing back their old friend.
yeah.
Like they did all that piracy earlier, and they're like,
Well, I cheated
Flavio went
once.
to-
If I'm going to cheat again, I better have the people that help me cheat because
Yeah.
I can trust them. I know they're cheaters.
Yeah.
It's incredible. You know, are you done your riveting review?
I am.
expose?
I missed some stuff. I kind of blew it.
No, you did
Anyway.
great. What are you talking about? This is awesome stuff. This is what people are going to tune into eventually. So I'm not as in depth as you, but I will say this. So do you know who Bernie Eccleston is?
Yeah.
Okay.
He used to own F1.
Yeah, that's right. He also used to be a Formula One team owner as well.
He owned
Brabham,
Brabham.
if I'm correct. I should quickly reference, but my memory serves me as a Formula One fan.
And he's a maniac, isn't he? Or
Bernie
was.
Eccleston is like a Tim Burton movie character.
Yeah, he's got the hair.
He's diminutive. He often wears black.
Yeah.
So
he looks like a spider.
So all I'm going to say about this, so he was known for, I'm not going to talk about his F1 cheating. I just want to highlight something that's happened recently with him. So this person is beyond rich. Bernie Eccleston is, yeah. And I remember reading an article about he got mugged somewhere with his partner, and they stole some it was like some absurd number. It was like 700,000 pounds worth, like the sterling of jewelry. Like they had
from his woman
on the watch, necklace, ring. So they were walking around with some like $1 million worth of jewelry.
Yeah.
And they got mugged, and it was taken from them. And in my head, I'm like, I don't like why would you walk around with that much jewelry that costs that much? But then I'm also thinking like, well, you're so rich, you don't care if someone steals it. You'll just buy another watch.
What makes me wonder is, don't they have a bodyguard?
Well, I mean, they should have. I don't know what happened. I didn't go down. I just remember them being mugged and they lost all that jewelry. And I thought, holy cow, that's crazy.
In a world of conformity and beige and banality, there's sometimes, as I said, not when there's political stakes at hand or when people's lives are in danger, but it is nice when you get some characters. And going back to what we were talking about at the top of the show, I like someone with an opinion like a Villeneuve or a Damon Hill. I like somebody who's going to put it all on the line like a Max Verstappen and get his elbows out. And it's the ones that just like after the race say, a la Lando Calrissian, I didn't do a good job, and I'm really sorry about that, and I've got to be better next time.
Well, I'm on the fence because I kind of like.
I want somebody who's like, you fucked up. It's somebody else's fault. I'm incredible.
I mean, it makes for better press. I mean, and perhaps that's why people also like Max, because he just says what he thinks and he's not mincing his words. Mince no mince.
Mince no mince. Well, I don't have it in me. You know, I'm not a risk taker. So I want to see it in other people. If I just see, like when I go out to a restaurant, I don't want to get something I can make at home.
Right. I get it, what you're saying. And perhaps that's why so many people like Max Verstappen is because they can't behave the way he wants to behave. Maybe they want to behave that way, which then opens up a whole nother thing. Because I'm like, I don't want a whole world of people breaking the rules. I'd rather have some rules that we follow. But I'll get to that in a sec. Bernie Eccleston got sentenced 17 months in prison, which was suspended for 2 years. Don't understand how that works. Probably because you're rich. So you're supposed to serve 17
It's because you're rich.
But guess what? We're going to suspend that for 2 years, and then basically you don't go to prison. He was charged for failure to declare millions of pounds held in a Singapore trust by the British government for over like something like 20 years. So he was then finally caught. So it's tax fraud, tax evasion. He was the revenue and customs for the UK or England or whoever the stupid country is, because I know anyway. 653 million pounds was what he was ordered to pay back in taxes and penalties.
Wow.
The second largest fine in UK history.
Did he actually pay it back? Does it say?
Yeah.
Because a lot of these guys will go on to like fight it forever.
The settlement covers tax years from 1994 to 2022, and it includes $330 million in penalties, accrued interest, and a prosecution cost of 74. So half of that was penalties. I love it. Eccleston's legal team argued that he should not face prison time due to his age and medical issues and low risk to the public. So I want to tear this apart. He's old. So if you're old, you can do some real bad things and you're not going to go to jail.
Take notes.
Okay.
Milky. We're going to get out of some horrible things when we're old.
So, hey, yeah, he's old. Okay. So he should, medical issues, whatever, heart problems. So now I've got cancer. I've got a medical issue. I'm allowed to go commit murder. I'm allowed to do, right? Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
And then have you had cancer? You had polyps in your nose.
Yeah,
so
but that's not really. I guess it is, but it's not.
Oh,
really.
You've got two. You've ticked two boxes.
And he's a low risk to the public.
You're very.
He is short. He's a short guy for sure. But if you evaded that much money in not contributing to the governing of your country and community, I would argue that he was a high risk to the public, and he's
very good.
Millions of people's lives. Maybe his tax dollars would have fixed the pothole at the roundabout in Shaftesbury Lane, London, and a family of 4 would have died hitting that pothole and careening into a transport or a lorry, as they say in England.
Yeah, and they do say that, so there's no need for air quotes. Yeah, you're absolutely right. As far as tax evasion goes, and these. I mean, you've got to go a long ways these days to get as a perpetrator to get in front of a judge. Like, it's not easy to do that. So you got to give it up for effort and the amount these guys can deal with and still sleep at night. Like, I'm doing nothing illegal, and I rarely get 7 hours of sleep.
I feel bad because I haven't filed my taxes.
Well, what are you doing? I mean, I gear everything in my life towards sleep, So I'm paying off debt as fast as possible. So I have so you know what I mean? Like, I'm so on the right side of the law and history and everything. Rich. That's why I'm not rich. It's because the sociopaths of the world are like, I think it's an ongoing discussion how much tax I should be paying. And then they fall asleep at the drop of a hat. Mm-hmm. I wish I could be like that.
They also, I like now, like they're like these aliens from some other planet. Also, it's my understanding, and this is probably wrong, but they take on so much debt, right?
Yeah.
To do some of these.
That's right.
Incredible business maneuvers that they manage to do.
They risk it all.
They go for it, which makes me go with my company that I'm doing, the comedy department. It makes me go, I'm using my own money to get this company going. I should just go to the bank, borrow a bunch of money, and then if it all goes nowhere, can't pay the loan back. That's what business people do, right?
That's what they do, but I don't know if it works for small, like the little guys. The little guys are who the CRA go after.
It does seem like that.
Because they can. The big guys who have a whole team of lawyers behind them, that's harder for them to go after.
That's more costly.
I don't know.
So you're saying if you're wealthy and you can hire and you owe X amount of dollars, or you want to like hide your money or reduce your tax to the most minimum, You just get your lawyers going. They make it hard for the CRA or maybe it's any federal
Yeah.
tax
Yeah.
collection agency, and it becomes a giant process. It costs too much. Costs too much for the taxpayer because it's the taxpayer who's going to pay to get that. And then they go, "What? How much are we going to spend to get that money?" Oh, so is there a formula where the wealthy go, if I spend this much money on lawyers and I owe this much money in tax to the government of whatever said country, I know that they have to spend this much money in lawyering and it's going to take them this much time to get that amount of money. So it balances out. And they're like, the government goes, well, we're going to spend this much money to get that much money
Yeah.
back.
Yes and no. I think it's a bit more speculative.
Okay.
I think you can still get into trouble if the CRA decides to focus on you.
Yeah.
And I'm not even comfortable talking about the CRA at all because I don't know anything about them. But
Well,
what
they
I
called me.
think
They
is,
called me.
what did they say?
They said, you owe us money and you need to pay it.
Oh,
And I said, I'm trying.
oh, that's stressful, Milky.
Yeah, I said, I'm trying.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to talk about this on our podcast. Maybe we should cut this part out.
But
it's a live stream, so it's out there. It's out there now.
We'll edit it out. I mean, we're doing a live stream, but we'll edit it out.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. My apology goes out to the CRA and all the other tax citizens.
We should apologize because we've been talking for an hour.
Yeah, it's been very exciting.
It's been really fun. I want to apologize to Heidi Klum, Naomi Campbell, Flavio Briatore.
I don't think you need to apologize to Flavio.
No?
No, he's as crooked as they come. Do you apologize to crooks? I mean, maybe you do.
I want to meet him. I want to meet interesting people, Milky.
Mm-hmm.
I'm less enamored with the people that follow the rules. That's me.
Mm-hmm.
I want to meet the people who are like, rules are meant to be discussed.
Mm. Well, I mean, I guess maybe a lesson learned here is that, yeah, we need to have rules and we should have regulation. I think overall that is the right way to do. And
absolutely.
People should do their best to abide, because we've all maybe thought that perhaps these set of rules and regulations are going to be good, whether that's our behavior like in relationships, or whether that's our behavior with our relationship with our government or with our coworkers, or how to run a business or how to take care of Mother Nature. We've all started to we agree. However, maybe, the rules get pushed because we go, well, maybe that rule isn't quite right. So the only way to redo that rule is to maybe break that rule or push that rule to its limit and go, see. And then, or maybe it reminds us to be like, no, that's why we have the rule. And it is a good rule, because by doing that, it's bad.
Well, there used to be a rule that said women couldn't vote.
Yeah, that's a crazy that's crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there used to be a rule that black people couldn't go to school with white people.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So there you go.
There used to be another rule that Japanese people weren't allowed, and they had to be interned. So rules should be examined, and regulation, it's definitely a good thing in a capitalist society where there's nothing free about this market.
No, there's no free market.
So I'm not sure I could call Flavio Briatore, the focus of this episode, an activist.
Mm-hmm.
He's not breaking rules for the greater good,
mm-hmm.
but whatever he's doing, it's working, and I find it fascinating. And the women in his life they're not only the most gorgeous, they're also incredible business women. And Naomi Campbell calls him her mentor. She's worth a gazillion from the merch.
They're
Heidi
so
Klum,
smart.
same thing.
So smart.
I just want to sit down and have some spaghetti with Flavio.
I mean, I would love to do it. I mean, like earlier, I said I never need to, hang out or interview or talk to Max Verstappen or Christian Horner. I mean, that was an absolute lie. Let's just be clear. Okay,
yeah,
I was saying
you were
that.
A liar.
I was saying that
You're a fucking liar.
For controversy, to get people to, I mean, that's what you do. Of course, I'd like to talk to all these people. However, I'm not sure how long, because I'm pretty sure they'd not like me after a while. Because I would love to say
I don't think they'd like us in the beginning.
Because at some point, don't you want to just say what you want to say? Like if I was
I think that's
having
what you
dinner
lead
with,
with.
if
That's
I
what
was
you
with,
lead with.
I'd be like, Max, you're a dirty driver. That's what I'd want to talk to him about.
Yeah.
I think you're dirty. Tell me why you're not dirty.
I don't know if you'd ever get the answer you wanted in that way, and maybe you never would.
Fistful of
But
knuckles.
but there, what does that mean?
He punched me in the face, I think.
Oh, but there are ways to get the answer you want. May I point to one of the most famous moments in Canadian radio when Anna Maria Tremonti on live radio on the
Yeah.
CBC on her when she did The Current.
Yeah.
She was interviewing Henry Kissinger, and she got him to admit that he's a war criminal right before he hung up on her. That's how you get the answer you want. And I'm not sure. I don't know if you're right. I'm with you. The only way I can come in is with bluster and volume. But there are people who are able to backdoor other people and outsmart them, and then it's like
It's not
that's
me.
the best.
I don't think I'm the one.
Not yet. Not yet. We'll keep working on it. Do you want to apologize to anyone?
Yeah, I do. I'm going to apologize to.
Why don't you apologize to Max?
I'm going to apologize to Max. Hang on, I am in charge of my own apologies.
Sorry. I want to apologize to you.
Yeah, I apologize to Max and Sky F1 because Sky F1 is probably doing what they think they need to do. I want to apologize to the CRA. I'm going to do my best. I want to apologize to
heartfelt
anybody again. Anybody, I don't want to have anyone feel bad when we talk. Like I don't want anyone to feel bad. So if we've upset anybody in any way because of how we spoke, it's not. We're just dumb idiots doing a podcast, and we'll always try our best. But we'll probably fail from time to time.
I mean, speak for yourself. But yeah, this is purely for entertainment value.
I don't need you to comment on my apology. Okay,
I'm just saying you called us dumb idiots, and I said, speak
well,
for
you
yourself.
are.
I'm not a dumb idiot.
I'm pretty sure you're dumb.
No, maybe that's your thing, but all I wanted to say.
I'm sorry for thinking that you're a dumb idiot. Oh, this is never going to end.
Is that people have the power to vote with their fingers? They don't have to listen to this if they don't.
That's true.
Wanna?
Yeah.
Hey, I got an idea for a new segment. It's called Lesson Learned.
Lesson learned. I like it.
Milky, what did we learn from this podcast?
Well, I think I think I kind of already highlighted it, where it's like, oh, maybe rules are supposed to be pushed and examined because, and that's how you determine whether a rule's good or not. Is someone has to be willing to go over the line.
And those are the people that are change makers. Sometimes people that push it. The rest of us who are just, who just agonize over something dumb we said at a party the night before and lie there on our pillow waiting for sleep to finally take over.
Sounds like you've said some dumb things lately. So you are a dumb idiot.
You're right. My lesson learned is you're right. When you're right, you're right.
Now,
okay, I'm 7 minutes late for my oh, look at that. That's an old t-shirt. I wonder what that smells like.
It smells great because it's wore like once every 2 years.
Did you wear it for this morning?
Yeah, I did. I saw it. I was like, I'm going to wear this.
I don't know where mine's gone, but I get everything stained, so it's not around.
Okay.
That's a good note to end on, stains.
Yeah.
Next episode, can we do a full? Do you want to take the next episode? No, our next episode is the race.
Yeah, tomorrow morning.
Pardon me.
No, Sunday morning.
Sunday morning, we're going to post the race, or no? You said tomorrow morning we're going to preview it.
What did I do? No, we already did a preview, didn't we?
You're right. We did preview it.
We don't even know how our podcasts work, and that's fine. I think we should.
So we're going to post the race?
Yeah, we post the race Sunday morning and then talk about Qatar, which is...
We're going to preview Qatar.
Right? It sounds like a country that is in a Disney movie every time I hear it. Qatar. I'm the Prince of Qatar.
It is a real country, and Doha is the capital.
Doha. That's a cool name too, Doha.
Doha. Yeah, it is. It sounds like dosa. Do you like a dosa?
Oh, I love a dosa.
God,
there's a house of dosas up here on Kingsway, and
I'm hungry right now.
And they can make them so big.
Oh, I know that rest. I've been to that dosa house. Yeah, that's Kingsway's a great food street, isn't it?
Yeah, it's surprising because you drive down it and you know, like there's nothing extravagant about the exteriors of the buildings.
No, that's what I love about Kingsway. You've got great Hakka, you got great pho, and you've got great
Oh
Saigon.
yeah, yeah.
You got great
There's a
Vietnamese.
new Vietnamese sandwich
Oh
place
yeah.
with that, like the buns that are or they're crusty
Yes, the
and
banh
thin
mi.
and light.
Oh, yes, the French Vietnamese combo there. You know, colonialism for all the bad. For all the bad.
I don't know if
We
this is how
we
you want
really
it.
brought you some great food.
Oh
You're
my god.
welcome.
Oh my god. I don't know if do we do the apologies again?
I could talk to you forever, Milky, but I got to go to
Okay.
this thing for my school.
Okay, go be a great parent and try and figure out what rules to enforce on your kids and what rules not to.
And I'll talk to you. Wait a second. Are we doing this on Sunday now?
I think we should do it Sunday morning after the race, and then it's a post pre.